Okay, picture this. 16th century India, it's a time of grand empires, big ambitions, but also these fierce pockets of independence. We're going deep today into a story that really echoes through time, focusing on valor, on resolve. We're talking about the legendary Maharana Pratap of Mewar and, of course, the iconic Battle of Haldigati. But this isn't just a history lesson about a battle. It's more about the principles behind it, what it means to stand your ground.
Exactly. And our job here is to sift through the sources, pull out the really crucial bits for you, give you a shortcut, sort of, to understanding this key moment. Because this story, Maharana Pratap's story, it's got these timeless themes, hasn't it? Freedom, self-respect, things that still resonate quite powerfully today.
Absolutely. And by the time we're done, you'll hopefully have a sense of just how intense this conflict was, maybe surprisingly so. We'll also get into this incredible bond between, well, a warrior and his horse, really something special. And we'll look at the outcome of the battle itself, which wasn't as clear-cut as you might think, but its impact, undeniable. So let's dive in.
All right, let's set the stage. 16th century India, the dominant force, the Mughal emperor Akbar, hugely ambitious guy. He had this grand vision, didn't he, to unify pretty much all of Hindustan under his rule. A massive undertaking.
Right. And you have to understand the politics at the time. A lot of the other Rajput kings, these are the warrior rulers in the region. Many had already, submitted to Akbar. They'd made alliances, accepted his overlordship. It often meant stability, maybe even positions of power within the empire.
Yeah, practical choices, maybe.
Pragmatic, exactly. And that's what makes Maharana Pratap's stance so striking. He just refused to follow suit. A real outlier in that sense.
So, Maharana Pratap, king of Mewar, he stands firm. Akbar tries repeatedly, doesn't he? Sending envoys, offering peace deals. Oh, multiple times. Peace proposals, alliances, you name it. Trying to bring Mewar into the fold without, necessarily resorting to all-out war immediately.
But Pratap's answer was consistent.
Completely unwavering. Sources quote him directly saying something like, Mewar was, is, and will remain independent.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, think about that. In the face of this massive, expanding empire, to make such a declaration, it wasn't just about land. It was about identity, legacy, the fundamental right to rule themselves. For him, submitting wasn't just a political compromise. It was, unthinkable, a betrayal of everything Mewar stood for.
That really puts it in perspective. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What does it actually take to stand so alone against such, overwhelming power when your core values are on the line?
It's a huge question. I think for Pratap, it was deeply ideological. It wasn't just a military calculation, though strategy was involved, of course. It was about preserving the spirit of independence, even if the odds looked impossible. He must have felt that legacy, that regional pride, very strongly. The risk was enormous, obviously, but maybe he felt the risk of losing Mewar's soul, so to speak, was even greater.
Yeah.
And that conviction ultimately led them to Haldigati.
Okay, so the diplomatic efforts fail, the lines are drawn. Let's go to that specific day, June 21st, 1576. In the morning, the location, Haldigati. It's this pass, right? In the Aravalli Mountains. A dramatic setting for what's about to happen.
It really is. And the name itself, Haldigati, it means yellow soil. It comes from the color of the earth there. Kind of gives it this unique visual, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
And strategically, that narrow pass was crucial. It basically funneled the massive Mughal army into a tighter space. It sort of negated some of their numerical advantage,
Yeah.
Harder for them to deploy all their forces effectively. Gave the defenders a fighting chance.
And the difference in numbers was pretty stark. On the Mughal side, you've got Rajaman Singh leading them, Akbar's trusted general, and the army. Sources say around 80,000 soldiers, huge, well-equipped, cavalry, elephants, infantry with matchlocks, the whole imperial machine.
Yeah, a truly formidable force. Then you look at Pratap's side, much smaller. Maybe around 20,000 warriors, mostly his loyal Rajput cavalry archers, but also, importantly, Bhil tribesmen who knew those mountains like the back of their hand.
Local knowledge.
Critical.
Yeah.
So fewer numbers, less heavy equipment perhaps, but fierce loyalty, patriotism, and that terrain advantage. It really sets up this classic underdog scenario in a way.
And woven into this whole story, almost like a character in his own right, is Pratap's horse, Chetak.
Yeah.
The sources are clear. This wasn't just any horse. He was a companion, a trusted partner in battle. Sometimes, they say, even a battle winner.
Absolutely. The bond there was legendary. More than just transport, it was a real partnership, vital for Pratap's survival and effectiveness in combat.
So, the sun is up, the armies are facing each other in this yellow pass. How does the battle actually kick off? It sounds like it was immediate chaos. War drums, battle cries, the sound of swords clashing, spears, horses charging. Just intense right from the start.
Utter chaos, yes. And right in the middle of it, you have Maharana Pratap himself. Accounts describe him leading from the absolute front. Apparently, his spear and sword were incredibly effective. He was cutting through enemy lines, a real force of nature on the battlefield, inspiring his troops.
There's that one famous incident, isn't there, with Raja Man Singh's elephant?
Ah, yes, that's a standout moment. Pratap apparently charged Man Singh, who was directing the battle from atop his elephant. And Pratap hurled his spear with such force at the elephant.
Hit the elephant itself.
Yeah, hit the elephant. Or maybe the Hanuman Singh was in. The source is very slightly, but the impact was tremendous. It caused the elephant to panic and turn back, disrupting the Mughal command for a bit.
Incredible. But didn't his spear break in that attack?
That's right. The spear broke. A moment of intense power, but also leaves him potentially vulnerable. Shows the sheer ferocity of the fighting.
And as things got really heated, Pratap inevitably got surrounded at some point.
It seems so. With the Mughal numbers, it was probably bound to happen. He found himself isolated, in grave danger. And that's where Chetak steps in, really heroically. The horse didn't just stand there, it actively defended Pratap.
How? What did it do?
Well, accounts say Chetak reared up, used its front legs, specifically its right leg seems to be mentioned, to strike at enemies, to keep them at bay.
Wow, actively fighting.
Actively fighting to protect his rider. And then, critically, managed to break through and carry Pratap away from the immediate danger zone.
Just amazing loyalty from an animal. But it came at a terrible cost, didn't it?
It did. In that desperate struggle to get Pratap clear, Chetak was terribly wounded. One leg was almost severed, according to most accounts. A mortal wound.
How terrible.
Yet somehow, with its last ounce of strength, Chetak carried Pratap across a small river or stream of Nala, getting him to safety on the other side. And right after reaching safety, ensuring his master was out of immediate reach, Chetak collapsed and died. Attained valor, as the sources sometimes put it.
Died a hero.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Hero's death. And that sacrifice, that loyalty, is why Chetak is still remembered so vividly in India today. It's become a symbol of that bond of ultimate devotion.
So Chetak saves Pratap, but the battle itself, how did it end? It went on for hours, you said.
It did. A long, brutal fight. And even though the Mughals had the numbers, Pratap and his men fought with such ferocity that they genuinely shook the Mughal forces. It wasn't an easy victory for them, if you can even call it that.
Right, because the outcome is often described as
inconclusive. Officially, yeah. Often termed inconclusive. Or maybe a tactical Mughal win, because Pratap had to withdraw from the field. But that misses the bigger picture. The truly significant outcome, the one that defined the rest of Pratap's life and legacy, was that despite everything Akbar threw at him, Maharana Pratap was never captured.
Never captured. That's the key point.
That's the absolute key. Akbar's goal was submission, capture, the end of Mewar's independence. And Pratap denied him that ultimate victory. By escaping, he ensured the fight would go on.
And go on it did. His struggle didn't end at Haldigati. He continued fighting, right? From the mountains, the forests.
For years. It showed incredible resilience. He basically waged a guerrilla war, refusing to give in, facing immense hardship.
Hardship is probably an understatement. There's that detail about what he ate.
Yes, the sources mention it specifically to highlight his sacrifice. It says, he ate rotis made from wild grass and roots, suffered extreme hardships, but never compromised Mewar's independence.
Eating grass bread, I mean, that just paints such a vivid picture of his commitment. Choosing that over surrendering.
It really does. It symbolizes that absolute dedication to principle, to freedom, over personal comfort, or even survival sometimes. It's why he became such an icon of resistance.
It really makes you rethink what victory means, doesn't it? Maybe it's not always about winning the battle on the day.
Exactly. Sometimes victory is about endurance. It's about preserving that spirit, that ideal, against all odds. Pratap's refusal to yield had this lasting impact, inspiring people long after he was gone. He ensured Mewar, at least in spirit, remained unconquered.
So wrapping this up, it feels like Haldigati wasn't just another battle in a long series of wars. It stands out as something more. An immortal saga, as some sources put it, about freedom, about self-respect.
I think that's right. And the story of Pratap and Chetak together really drives home that core message, doesn't it? There's that saying from the sources, freedom is the greatest wealth. And he who struggles for it becomes immortal even after death. It captures the essence of their legacy perfectly. A powerful thought.
It really is.
Yeah.
So maybe the question for you listening to this is, as you go about your own life, what does this story of unbending principle of incredible sacrifice for what you believe in, what does it spark in you? What are those core values you hold? And what might your own Haldigadi moments look like where you have to stand firm for them? Something to ponder.